into this new month called February, a great month, as the smallest as far as days are concerned of the year, and yet crammed, packed with all kinds of great good things that are going on. So not only is our whole community internationally celebrating this month under the banner Love in its many colors, but alongside of that, we celebrate Black History Month, and alongside of that, we're celebrating Love Bears in the Sanctuary, and alongside of that, I tell you, it's the Leap Month, and anybody who has a design on somebody that they might think might be their mate for life, you get to propose, and they have to say yes. On the 29th, they have to say yes. So my goodness me, it's all happening. And on top of that, it's the month of Super Bowl, is it not? And today is the day of Super Bowl, and I know you're all just delighted to be here right now, and you're totally present to this. But when those doors open, I know there'll be a charge to go home and light up that grill, etc. So it's a great good thing. Here we are rendering to God the things that are God's. This afternoon it's Caesar's turn. We'll render to Caesar the things that are Caesar's. And it's great and it's good and it's grand. And it's always wonderful to have something to celebrate because it raises our energy and it makes us feel good and it takes us out of ourselves for 2 minutes. It really does. So love, my dear ones, what can I say? Love, 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 love. Well, we think we know it, we think we understand it, but we haven't a clue, because it's something more than that which a human being can experience. So without that added connection of our closeness with our source, we would never fully understand, or anywhere near that, what love truly is. It's a potency, it's a power, it's a force. Ernest Holmes calls it a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. That's what he says. Love is a cosmic force whose sweep is irresistible. You know, when the love bug bites. But we're not just talking about romance here. We're talking about when the love bug really bites you. You can see what happens in the lives of certain people who change life forever, like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., like Nelson Mandela, like Archbishop Tutu, like Gandhi, and the list goes on and on. Martin Luther King Jr. was a student of Gandhi's, and as you know, he lived his life deeply committed because the love bug had bitten him, committed to supporting, achieving, and accomplishing peace and freedom and justice for all on this planet in his lifetime. As did Nelson Mandela, as is to this very day Archbishop Tutu. Now, these particular people, Gandhi included, and many others besides, knew exactly what Jesus was saying when he said, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Pray for those who persecute you and despitefully use you. They did it. They lived it and were willing to give up their lives in the process. They were willing to give it all. To give it all. And as you know, Gandhi did. Martin Luther King did. Nelson Mandela was willing to, and so was Archbishop Tutu. And Archbishop Macario down in South Africa, if you remember way back when, he was willing to do it too. He stood up for peace and justice and freedom for all and was gunned down as he was saying Mass in the cathedral. We have other people too who do this all the time, who know their strength when they're connected. Something in them that's more than them takes over. And ordinary, everyday people like you and me will run to a burning car and try and get the people out who are in there, or the person out who is in there, even though the thing might kill them in the process. But they do it. Do you think they stop and think, will this kill me or won't it kill me? No, they just off they go. That's an amazing thing. And the only thing that can cause us to do that is the moreness of ourselves, is the divine aspect of our being. It's the truth of ourselves that gets us to do things like that. I've seen it. Little children in school, little small tiny tykes will stand up to a big bully when they see their friend being treated badly and so on. Little things. It's all over the place. We see it and we witness it everywhere. I'm sure you yourself have had opportunities to do likewise. I'm sure you could tell stories too. This is what love is. It's strong, it's powerful, it is great, and it is irresistible, and everything must bow down before it. Everything must bow down before it when the wholeness of love shows itself. And so, my dear ones, today you and I are asked to look at ourselves this week, this month, and examine ourselves under the banner of love. Yes, we are told lots of things about love. We see many things about love. We've heard it all, seen it all, and so on, and yet we've seen very little. We've seen very little. Because nobody can tell me about it, nobody can show me it, and so on. I have to do that in here myself. I have to find it, discover it within myself. It's the only way I can know love. Great operatic arias around it. Tell me what love is. What can it be? What is this burning yearning in me? Tell me what love is. No one can tell you. You have to find it yourself. You have to come home to yourself. In between that word, there are two little letters, O-M, om, home to yourself. And where is home? We are told home is where the heart is. And what is the heart? It's inner. It's the inner mind. The inner mind. That's what the heart is. It's the infinite, intelligent inner mind. That's what the heart is. We've got to come home to it. We've got to come home to it. And this thing is full of vim and vigor and zest and power and passion, this thing called love. Now, it's not the best team that always wins the bowl. No. Sometimes the team with the most heart, the most passion, the most persistence, the most perseverance, and the most tenacity brings it on home. Have you noticed that sometimes? It happens that way. And love is always center field in the game of life, always center field in the game of life. And that's its pivot. That's the nucleus. And everything else plays around it. Everything else plays around it. Everything else plays around it. It's the way love works. Do you know that? Do I know that? I have to ask myself this month, do I know this? Have I a clue? Have I a clue? So we are told in the great scriptures, the great ancient wisdom that is ever perennial and new all the time. In the words of the master lover himself, Jesus, the Christed one, he said, "If you know not love, you know not God. If you know not love, you know not God." It's a big statement. And he says, how can you possibly say you love God whom you don't see, and you do not love your neighbor whom you do see? How can you possibly say that? But I will tell you, here's the truth. Here's ancient wisdom now made present, and you know it now. Love one another as you have first been loved. As you are loved and cherished, love one another, and by this will all know that you are love's disciples. By this will all know that you are love's disciples. All these things sound so beautiful and so wonderful, and we all agree to it when we hear it. But my goodness, try and apply it. Try and live it out in your life. And sometimes it's exhausting because we don't really get it. We don't really get it. We don't want to. Now, Einstein said, now listen up, he said. You gotta get over the delusion of loving those nearest to you. You've got to free yourself from that prison, widen its circle, and embrace all of life and all of living. Included all. And Jesus said it, if you love those who love you, what thanks is to you? Don't sinners do this, the ones who make all the mistakes all the time? Don't they do the same thing? You can't just love the people who love you. Neither can I, not if I'm a truth student, and not if I'm endeavoring to self-realize, wake up and remember who I am in truth. Can't do that. Has to include everything and everyone. Imagine if you were playing ball and you have a good player on the team and you don't like the player and you say, I'm not passing the ball to him because really I don't like him. Pass it over here. That wouldn't work, would it? And you'd have a reckoning after the game, I can tell you. There would be a reckoning. It's just this immense thing. And you and I play it very small, play it very, very, very small. We make it very small, this love circle in our lives. We really do. We cannot do that anymore. If you and I truly want to flourish and to thrive and to know what peace is. And remember, it's all about peace of mind. Because once you have peace of mind, you have everything. Nothing bothers you. Nothing disturbs you. Nothing frightens you. Nothing. You have peace of mind. It's a gift. It's one of the gifts of the Holy Spirit. What's the Holy Spirit? It's the law of life as it flows. It's the law of creation. The law, the creative law of life. So what is it you want? We're in this sanctuary because we do want to know what love is. We want to feed the burning, yearning desire within ourselves. We want to abate that. We don't want to keep having this spiritual churning that's going on within us. Spiritual heartburn. Heartburn is no fun for anybody who's ever experienced it. Well, let me tell you, spiritual heartburn is even worse. Because no matter what good comes our way, nothing satisfies us. There's no peace. There's more. There has to be. And nothing is ever enough. And I never feel myself adequate in any way. It doesn't matter how I'm lauded and applauded. You see, don't you find that? It doesn't matter how people laud you and applaud you and all the rest of it. If you yourself are not at rights with yourself in love, consciously in love with the great self, not yourself like Narcissus was. He did that well. But to understand that love is the breath we breathe. It's the air we breathe. It's the breath we breathe. And love is supposed to be the thought that we think, the word that we speak, the feeling we feel, and the things that we do and what we're being. That's what love is supposed to be. And so you and I have our work cut out for us this month. To check ourselves under the banner of love and see how we measure up. 1 Corinthians 13, really and truly, Paul nailed it. Love is patient. I love he said patient. First word he chose to describe love was patience. Patience. So very few of us have it. And then not for so long. As a little kid, we learned in the schoolyard, patience is a virtue, have it if you can. It's seldom in a woman, but it's never in a man. Where do these things come from? Lessons in life we're learning in the schoolyard, but we're not even thinking what the hey any of it means, It's an amazing thing. Patience, it's powerful, it's potent, it's strong. Within patience is every single aspect of love. Kindness, observance, listening, hearing, being present to. Every aspect of love is contained within that one word, patience. Patience. Patience, Brother Peter. Patience, Brother Peter. I was always spoken to the monk in the monastery who was never patient. Patience, Brother Peter. You know, patience, patience. So let's add that to our little love definition in this month and see how patient we can be for 10 minutes every day. And let's see if it'll hold. And then if it holds for 10 minutes, let's up the ante to 15. You know, you never know. And it's like anything else. You will get very, 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 very good at anything you begin to give time and focus to, even if it's 5 minutes. Even if it's 5 minutes. I'm telling you, I'd forgotten really how easy it was, you know, to stand on one and brush your teeth. I'd forgotten that until I started to do it. Well, the first time I started to do it, I was going. Now it's not a bother. And that would start with a couple of minutes that it takes to brush your teeth. Same spiritual practice works the very, very same way. Sit and be still for 2 minutes. 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And give yourself those 3 minutes. And it'll be agony for some people. What the hell am I doing sitting here doing nothing? I have so much to do, I'm buried. Just do it anyway. Whatever it takes. But these are the practices for growing ourselves in mindfulness and consequently be mindful enough to be loving enough to be able to open the portal within ourselves and release everything that's there of good. Because you and I are not looking to get anything to fill ourselves up with and put it in. No, it's the opposite. And who knew? We're having to open ourselves up and let it all out. It's already here. I don't fall in love. I don't fall out of love. And neither do you. How can you fall in and out of something you are? You are it. God so loved the world that God gave the world you as love. To be love. And it's as simple as that and as challenging as that. You are it already. Whatever you're looking for, the first thing you tell yourself. Now, as crazy as this seems, how silly as this seems, I am this thing I want to be already. And I have to somehow understand that to some little degree and then build on it and grow my understanding and my awareness of it. Until one day you'll wake up and you'll be it, and you won't even know you are it because you are it. And when you are it, you don't have to know you are it. You're just it. You're an it. And the it is big, huge. I'm it. I'm it. I'm it. I am it. I am that love I want. I am that friendship I want. I am that good I want. I am whatever the thing is I want. I am it already. It's up to me to let it out. It's up to me to express it. It's up to me to release it. Release it. Love. Good Lord. I break it down into life. Omniscient vital energy. LOVE. Life. Omniscient vital energy. Power, force that's irresistible. Cosmic force that's irresistible. And I'm telling you, as I am telling myself, when we manage to open ourselves up enough, surrender ourselves enough of the nonsense, the only thing you're ever asked to, divinely speaking, the only thing you're ever asked to surrender is all your negativity. That's all. There's nothing else. You don't have anything else to surrender. Nothing else is yours to surrender. That's all you have to surrender. That's yours. You made it. It's your creation. Definitely yours. Belongs to you. That's all you have to surrender. That's all I have to surrender. And when I surrender that, guess what happens? The portal opens and I see that within me already is all the good that I desire. And now it's free to flow out. In every direction. In every direction. There's a beautiful little movie on Netflix called Troop Zero. Some of you may have already seen it. And it's about a bunch of misfit children and a bunch of misfit grown-ups. And I'm telling you no more than that. But if you want to have lessons in love, watch the movie. Watch the movie. Troop Zero. Troop Zero. And it will do you a power of good, and you'll really feel good. It's full of humor, it's full of joy, it's full of challenge, it's full of pathos, it's everything. It's everything. That will indicate to you exactly how transformation can occur and the impossible can be achieved. The impossible can be achieved. So I will say to you, I will say to me, every day every day there is for us on this plane, never mind just February. How am I going to show up as love if I'm not showing up as it already? So under that would be questions, rhetorical questions in this room, but not for you. You'll answer them yourself. So do I know, do I understand, and do I experience in myself love as kindness, love as goodness, love as inclusiveness, love as welcome, love as service, love as being present in a situation where some help is required? Do I show up as patient? Do I show up as kind? Do I show up as being slow to anger and quick to forgive? Do I show up as celebrating other people's good? Do I show up absolutely non-engaging in rejoicing in another's downfall in any way? These are the things you read in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, Paul's epistle, his letter to the Corinthians. How do I show up as love? How do I? Because it's not what we see on the screens. It's not what we read in the books. It's not, the novels and the romances and so on. It's more than that. Part of that may be part of it, but it's so much more than that. So how do I represent? We're all salespeople in a way, and we're all representatives of love. Well, how am I doing? Would I win the prize when we go to the great conventions? Best salesman, best saleswoman, best sales child of the year when it comes to love. How am I selling it, but not in the awareness that we understand selling? We mean representing it. How am I representing it? How do I spell L-O-V-E as far as the world who is interacting with me perceives me? See. Now, I am not saying that when we embark on this wonderful journey back to ourselves mindfully, that we're not going to stray off the path. Of course we will. The only difference is we'll pick ourselves up more quickly. We'll get back on the path more, strongly and keep going. It's a question of never stopping, isn't it? Never stopping, keep going, never stop, keep going, never stop, keep going. Never stop. Never find the stagnant pool and keep revolving around in it. Jump out of it as soon as you're in it and keep going. That's all the success of life is about. You keep going. Last Sunday, something terrible happened when Kobe and those other 8 people, found themselves in an expanded awareness of life all of a sudden. And he always spoke about, and he was a great inspiration to many young people and older people too. And he always spoke about aim for greatness, aim for excellence, but be willing to pay the price. And he said the price is work. It's work. It's work. He says the dream, he said, is the work you put into it. The dream is the journey. The dream is the work you put into it. Aim at excellence and greatness by doing the work, by putting into it. That man threw 1,000 balls a day to get where he was. So what is the cost, and are you willing to pay it? Because love exacts our all. That's the cost. It will take everything you have in order to free you to be who and what you are, which is stunning. You couldn't stand yourself right now if you were able to see yourself as you are in truth. You would combust. You wouldn't be able for it. You just couldn't stand it, because as yet we haven't put in the work. As yet we haven't prepped sufficiently for that kind of realization. So remember, this is a universe of mirrors. You are a mirror and I am a mirror, and everything we look into is a mirror. Every person, place, and thing is a mirror we're looking into, and all of that is a mirror that looks into you and me. So what is seen as I look and am looked at? What is perceived? Tell me, is it love? Is it love? Is it love? Because you are it, my dear one. There's no one else that can be the love that you are. Because you are a highly individualized expression of that love. If you don't express it, it never gets expressed. And you are never, ever going to know yourself until that expression occurs. And once you know it in yourself, hey, presto, it's like magic, you can see it in everything and everyone else as well. Because then you can only see the self as you look in. The self that you have discovered within you, you can only see that in everything and everyone. Do you want it? I mean, the question is this what you want? I think you do. You don't have to answer because you're sitting in those seats today. You're here. You could be off doing other great good things elsewhere, but you're here because there's an impulse, there is a passion, there is that urgency within you that wants you to wake up and know yourself. So tell me what love is by means of you. You telling it is far more important than me telling you. I can tell you and tell you and tell you, but until you tell yourself, nothing changes and nothing is transformed, advanced, expanded, because your word is the word that can only do that. So speak your word of life, of light, of love out from yourself. Out from yourself. Do we get that? You don't have to speak anything into yourself. You're full of it. But you do get to speak it out. Speak it out. Let it out. Let it out. Let it out. What good is a beautiful gift if it's hidden away in a drawer or whatever, a bank or something, whatever? It may as well not exist because it's not in usage. And you and I are here for usage. We're here to be used, to use and be used. Use me, we sing it. Oh Lord. And I stand, in the truth. And I'll abide in the truth, and I'll stay in the truth. Move it on out, I say. Roll them up. Move them on out. That's what we have to do, all those good things within us. It's time for you to be the person you always thought you wanted to be. And it's time for me to be the person I always thought I wanted to be too. It's time. Let the 4-year-old be the 4-year-old, but don't keep shoving the 4-year-old out there to think and feel and do by means of you. Give the poor 4-year-old a rest and just show up as the sovereign, individualized expression of the most high conscious awareness and be as you are created to be. That cosmic force of love in expression that is irresistible. So, you irresistible yous, there's nothing else to do but to be it. And so it is.